Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris, and did you know they're making a Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark movie? I think if you clicked on this thumbnail, it's because something in your mind was like, that looks so familiar, but I don't remember if I read it, or it's just childhood trauma. In some cases, it might be both. If you don't know, I talk anything and everything movie related on this channel, so be sure to like and subscribe. But as far as what I'm going to talk about is I just want to bring you the news and get you up to date of what's going on with the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark movie. Anybody who browsed around your school library as a kid probably remembers this image. And if you weren't a complete wuss like me when I was a kid, you probably went ahead and even read the book. But Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark are basically three different books. You have Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, More Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark 3. They basically all were anthology books. They had different stories in each book, all three of them rounding out about 25 different stories. They mainly dealt with ghost stories or urban legends told for kids. I remember thinking that if you were bored of Goosebumps, you kind of upgraded to this series. But I still always checked out a Bailey School Kid book because that was my thing back then. And the main reason I never really read them is because some of the artwork is horrifying. I did not think these were kids' books at all. I didn't even know why they had them in my library, but then you get to reading some of these little stories and you're like, yeah, these are for kids, but that artwork was sick. And if they don't make the poster look something similar to that artwork, that's a missed opportunity right there. This is being produced by Guillermo del Toro, and you might know him for making Shape of Water. I really wish he was on board of directing it because I do think he's a good director and has a pretty unique vision of horror. But so far as of right now, this is the only image we have of the film. It's just a behind the scenes look of the house that's going to be in this movie. The synopsis of the movie right now is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. The movie will center on a group of young teens who are investigating a wave of horrific deaths that have started to plague their town. Nothing bad ever happened to anyone who was investigating a strange murder and found themselves in a scary looking house at night. Right? The movie is set to come out in August of 2019, but I always wonder when movies like this are made. Because we've seen it done with Goosebumps, which is a beloved horror property for kids, and that was turned into basically a comedic movie with very little horror elements in it. Is that the proper way to take something of that nature and adapt it? I think the studio should be aware that these were kids who grew up loving these books and probably enjoyed the stories, but now that they're much older, you need to adapt the story for that audience and make it scary. My fear here is that they are going to make it for kids that never really read the book because I don't even know if it's relevant to these kids nowadays. And in the end, I think that's how you have a film flopping or just turning out tremendously bad like the Goosebumps adaptation. So to anyone out there, do you think this movie is a good idea? Are there any specific stories in those books that you read as a kid that you're like, oh, it would have been better if they adapted this story? Do you think they should go with a traditional route of just aiming it towards kids with little horror elements in it? Or should they target the kids who grew up reading the books and make it horrifying for adults? Please let me know down below, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. If there is any movie out there that you want me to cover, go ahead and let me know down below. I can start making news updates on that as well. But this was just a little story that I saw that I thought might have been interesting to start a conversation with you guys. But as always, guys, I'm Chris. Take care.